Okay, this is a small presentation to discuss the piece of work you're doing at the moment for procurement. And what I want to say first of all is how you should set the report out. First of all, I know we discussed this in the first, but the report has three basic stages. One, tell them what you're going to tell them. So whoever the report's written for, identify that first of all, then tell them what you're going to tell them. Then the next part of the report is tell them, and then the final part, I wouldn't necessarily say conclusions in this case, but I would definitely say something like a summary. Tell them what you have told them. Remember who you're writing the report for. They are well educated but not technically competent, and you're going to have to explain everything to them, and you're going to have to put it in some kind of context. So what I would look at here first of all is what you're doing. And basically what happens here is, if you look at this slide here, we start at the bit where it says development and submit procurement strategy. You started this bit in October and you were here in October. And basically you're going to deliver the strategy to the client on the 9th of January. Okay, the client then looks at it, accepts it, and then moves it on. And basically this part here is goes through the process, if they're going to go forward, with the delivery vehicle. Okay, so basically everything inside here that goes on in here starts at this point, and you need a delivery vehicle. So that's where your initial start point is. So think about that in the way you set your project out or your report out. You may want to, and it's up to you, you may want to set it up in some kind of gateway process so it has a logical structure to it. You say we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this, and we'll do this. I'm going to go on to the next slide now just to explain it a little bit more. This is a very basic idea of what a procurement strategy should look like. If you think about it, up here before we start, at this point, you say to the client, do you have the funds to do this? Now, you may propose a funding mechanism as a part of your proposal, but that's down to you. What we're looking for in this is something that says, this is our proposal for this particular project. And I do not want anything in here that says, and the reason we've chosen this over this, and a comparative analysis of different methods. What I want from you in this is your proposal. I do not want a comparative analysis. Overarching the entire project, and if you think about it, what the client wants is from cradle, which is just about here, to grave. Okay, even though it takes into account the construction process, it may go beyond this point. And if you think about it, you have to think about the client and the client's best interest. So questions you may ask yourself is, what is the client's aversity to risk? What is the client prepared to do with the project post completion of construction? And then develop your strategy around that. Always remembering that the rationale for your strategy is dependent upon the client's best interest, whoever the client happens to be at that time. You never expose the client to more risk than they're prepared to take, unless, well, and first of all, you have to define what they are prepared to take. Now, while we talk about risk, each one of these gateway processes is about really risk. And basically what you're saying to the client here is go from A to B, stop, review, can you progress, can you go to the next one, etc, etc, etc. Now above the whole of the process here is the delivery vehicle, and I'm not sure what's in that delivery vehicle, how it's procured, and how you're going to go about using it. But think about it in that your delivery vehicle drops down and basically provides all the services to do the part underneath. Now in here I've got a brief. So if you think about it here, before you start, your strategy should be saying, well, we need a brief. We've got to the gateway, we've got things sorted out here, we're going to develop a brief. My only question to you here is, each one of these, how is it done? Who does it? Why is it done? What's the deliverable of this gateway? What's the benefits of that deliverable? What's the trigger before the next gateway starts? Next process, next process, next process. you really should consider here what are the key deliverables for the client back here. Because you can go shopping, because basically what happens here is you've got funding up here. Once you've got the money, let's go shopping. Yeah, but if you don't know what you're going shopping for, it's going to be difficult. So work out what these deliverables are in the construction process, how they're going to be configured, and then go out and procure them for the client in the best possible way. Now, I've done a very simple one here. Your strategy may have more than one processes, and it may be staggered, and the question is, well, why have you staggered it in that way? How does it work, etc., etc. So this is the basic model. How you put it together is down to you. What drops down from the delivery vehicle is also down to you. As a client, I'd want to know what's in that delivery vehicle, what am I paying for, and what are they doing at each phase of the process. Everything about this process is about the client's best interest. So, where are the marks for the assignment? Well, they're here. First of all, not in any particular order, but they're in the construction process. Have you defined the deliverables? Have you defined them as their key elements? How are they broken down? How are they used? The next thing is the tender process and the specification. This here, okay? Now what I've shown here in this model is that I do all my specification, then I go to tender, then I appoint. Okay? You can have different models here. This can be configured however you want, and the best way to deliver this part here. There are marks in here for how this is delivered. Yeah? How you configure it and how you deliver it. But you have to remember, you're going to propose it, you're going to say why it's good, you're going to give it a rationale, and then what you're going to say is, this is the benefits to the client. So think about each one of these points as you go through your entire work. Make sure it's consistent. So basically, if it's a brief, how's it done? Who's it done with? Who delivers it? And then come down, what comes down from here to do it? What comes down from here to do it? How is that configured? What's the best way of configuration? Why is your way the best? What's the rationale? What are the advantages? Exactly the same here. This is the deliverable. This is how it's broken down. This is why we're going to do it. Okay? And this is what's involved. And to achieve this here, we have to do these things back here. In here, and I'm not giving anything away by saying this, you're going to have to go through the European procurement process. So once again, you're going to have a strong knowledge of European procurement. You're going to have to explain this to the client. You're going to have to be able to then show it in process. You're going to need to show how you're going to comply across the piece. Okay, and that is where the high level marks are. You can't just say, if you just said something, for example, that you have to go through the European procurement process and it's done like this. Well, that's okay. That's a basic pass. If you tell me why I have to go through the European procurement process, what it implies, and its impact on the project, that's a merit. If you say, and the way we've configured this will ensure these benefits to you, the client, so I've now got the process, the rationale of why you're doing it that way, and the benefits to the client, that is a distinction. And that's the same with everything you do. So what we're looking for here is a logical structure that says this, and I'll recap what I said at the beginning. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Then tell them this process, and then tell them what you've told them. So if you think about it, you can build your whole report around the procurement process of this project. Work out the logical structure there, and then a report could be based on this, given that the pass mark is yes, you've actually complied to the regulations. The merit is you've given a rationale of how you've applied it and why you've applied it in this way. The distinction is you've now shown the benefits of applying it in this way. And this ends this presentation. I hope it helps in your work.